The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Savannah Humoller, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it is time for another edition of Mick Shots. Mickey Spagnola showing up just in the nick of time for the start of this show.
In the mick of time.
In the mick of time. That's right.
Somebody's got to go to practice.
On a rainy day here at the Star in Frisco. And so, no, there are not football players out on the football field. They are on the football field. Indoors today, right, Mickey?
Yes. Ford Center. Indoor practice.
So you weren't out there in the rain. You were just...
Yeah.
You were inside.
It's a long ways from the Ford
that's
Center.
where it
So
is.
Mickey is out of breath. I wanted to toss it quickly to Mickey.
Outdoors or something.
I wanted to toss it quickly to Mickey to see how out of breath he is after
Can't
making
tell
the
any
run
difference.
over
He's
here.
in shape.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And he has some breaking news from Cowboys practice, right, Mickey?
Yeah, and of course that I decided to speed up the process and took the elevator, right, to come down.
Oh, yeah.
It was going up. Mm-hmm. And that's the only one that goes to the third floor.
Well, that's good. If you're on the elevator always going up, isn't that a good thing?
Well, I had to come down.
So give us the breaking news. What's happening out there?
What is happening out there? Cavante Turpin, no helmet, no pads, so I don't think he's going to practice today. Mm-hmm. He was listed on the injury report. Mike said he would start with the rehab group, and it looked like he's not going to be limited unless he goes and puts his pads on. Marquise Bell was over there also, but he was doing the cords, but he had his pads on, so chances are he'll do a little something. Tyron Smith, this looked like another rest day for him, and if last week's rest day did what that did, just put him out there and play.
Out there.
Right?
There you go.
And Bryant is wearing number 17.
That would be not Dez, but Martavis Bryant.
Bill's just not going to let that go.
No, Bill is smart.
Right?
Yeah, because I'm sure there's some out there. Oh, my God.
Go.
What did I miss yesterday?
Brian, oh my gosh.
But 17 means he's probably not ready to play anytime soon, since I think another person has 17.
Oh, he's wearing number 17. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Brandon Aubrey.
There you go. Very good, Savannah.
Oh, you guys got me on that.
Who's the most famous 17 in
flunked that.
Cowboys history?
Don Meredith. Come on.
Sam Hurd?
Don Meredith.
Don Meredith. Come on.
He's tripping.
Dandy Don.
He's trying to be funny.
And,
he's trying to insult us.
And that's about all there was to see with the 10 minutes we were allowed, or I was allowed to stay there.
You get special privileges?
No. I got there a little
early. He gets kicked out early. That's
right.
Because you guys, I didn't want to get made fun of for being late.
A little too
right?
late for that, buddy.
Yeah.
All
By
right.
the way, Bill, I found my play-by-play for that first game. We talked about it
For the
yesterday.
Giants game?
For the Giants game.
You need a
we talked about
notebook.
what happened.
You need a notebook like I have here.
No, because then it
Yeah, I
gets
was
filled up, and then you got to get another notebook.
Well, I do. I'm about run out. I got a little notebook for the first half of the season, and so at halftime of the game on Sunday, I'm going to switch to my second notebook.
So you just
There you go.
you just get
Supporting documents.
you get a
Yeah.
different legal pad each week, and it's always on here.
Yeah, and then you forget it, and
No.
you start talking about
Don't
whatever you
forget
wanted to talk about, and
It's got it right here.
we got to fill time while you go searching for it.
Got it right there.
I have a
6-0.
I have a little concern coming into action today.
Well,
And that is
it has
because
nothing to
when
do
Everson,
with this game, probably.
Well, that's the thing. With Everson jokingly said, "Who do we play this week?"
Ah,
And that's my concern. Not in this room,
isn't that the way players are supposed
but
to
in
be?
that room over there. Yes. Or is there a concern they don't know who they're playing this week?
You just got to play the next game, right?
What's the attitude in there? Are they like, we're going to build on this past week? Or,
Yeah, I mean, we got in the locker room yesterday. It was in the morning, so they hadn't done anything. So yeah, I didn't.
There wasn't a lot of availability.
Didn't feel any vibe in there. There wasn't many players in there either.
Yeah.
So It's kind of hard to
But
tell.
just hearing them talk even after the game, and I've actually had the opportunity to talk with Dak on Monday night at an event that he was at. I get the impression there's a good positive frame of mind in that locker room coming out of the Philadelphia game, where they have a determination that, kind of like what we were talking at the end of the show yesterday, that, okay, there's a confirmation, hey, we're as good as that team on the other side, and now it's just a matter of week to week.
Right.
Just take care of business and continue doing what you're doing, and you're going to be there in the end.
How did McCarthy say it today? We always hear about keeping your house clean.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think he doubled down. He said, "Farm your own land and keep your house clean."
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard the farm your own.
That was a new one.
Maybe that's why we play bad against some losing teams, because they don't know what the hell he's talking about.
farm
It's
your
all,
own
it's all
land.
cryptic messaging, you know.
That's right. Hey, Coach. They're scared to raise their hand and say, what the hell are you talking about?
Keep your house clean.
They didn't do that against Arizona.
No, they did not. And that, there's always some games that come back to haunt you at the end of the season,
You talk about it every year.
right? There's one, right? And it's like, okay, that's going to pay a big price for that. And
I think right now we're always trying to make up for San Francisco. That seems to be, don't slip back into that frame of mind. No one's thinking of, Philadelphia, I think, made them say, okay, you guys forget about San Fran. If we keep playing well from here on, San Fran will be in the rearview mirror, especially if they keep losing. They lost 3 in a row.
Well, and what happens with that game is it's one thing to get beat, right? But to get drummed is another thing.
Yeah.
When you looked at it as, okay, we'll see where we're at, then this team has haunted us over the last 2 years, and then you lay an egg.
But when you look at the time, San Fran was the best, record-wise, was the best team in the NFL. And now you played against Philly, record-wise, best team in the NFL. So I think they tried to make up for San Fran by being hopefully consistent from here on out.
How do people feel about the Detroit Lions right now?
I think they are pretty much overlooked.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're really good.
I don't think they're overlooked, but I think they're really good.
No, I don't think
think
anybody's
everyone
taking
thinks
them
they're really good?
seriously.
No,
I think they're pretty
they are.
stacked.
I mean, I think they're good.
Yeah,
But
but
I don't think everybody's got this idea, well, that's the Detroit Lions.
I don't
But
think
I
they're
think
thinking like
it's-
that anymore, Spags.
Well,
It's going to play out over the next few weeks of how they do. I actually
Yeah.
have to look up who they are playing.
Everyone's going to be looking at our record versus theirs as we approach that game.
And that one is in end of December, correct? Or early January?
It's December. I think it's
Lions are playing the Chargers this week, and they're 6-2. Okay, Cowboys are on the verge. Well, they're 5-3 right now, on the verge of their 6th win if they beat the Giants on Sunday. You know what happened to the Lions a few weeks ago? They lost to Baltimore 38-6.
They got blown out.
right.
And everybody's still
was
thinks
their San Francisco
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
Yes.
That's my point. Everyone feels pretty good about the Detroit Lions, and their arrow is pointed up.
Yep.
And yet 3 weeks ago they lost to Baltimore 38-6.
And that's when everyone said they are the number one team in the NFC.
Who else?
Right.
And all of a sudden they
So-
get blown out. They're like, oh, that's what they try
They
to say
have
about the Cowboys.
The Chargers coming up, the Bears, the Packers, and the Saints. So those are their next.
3 games. Mm-hmm. Chargers, Bears, Packers, Saints. That's
Next 4 games.
The only thing you worry about with those
Yeah.
games, when I always look at division games, they're always different. You
Right.
can't just say, oh, well, our record is this. No,
Yeah,
a division
you're right.
game's a division game. So the Bears, to me, that's going to be a tough game for them. What do they play?
They play the Bears at home.
At home. That's
So
a good
in
thing
Detroit.
for them.
Thursday
well,
night.
no, wait a second. Wait a
Thursday
second.
night?
That's a
Talk to me.
Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Noon game.
Yeah, on Thanksgiving they play Green Bay.
Oh, the Bears.
Detroit. The only reason I brought up with
Carolina.
the only reason I brought up with Detroit was because of their 38-6 loss to Baltimore. Mm-hmm. You just said Chicago could be a tough game for them.
For them, yeah, it's a division game.
Chicago plays tonight. Chicago plays Carolina tonight. We have an opportunity tonight to scout our next
Oh, I was
opponent.
definitely
That's
gonna
right.
Oh, and
Correct.
Carolina has
Yeah.
all those days between games.
Look out for the Carolina Panthers a week from Sunday. Not to get ahead of ourselves. You got the
right.
Giants
All
and
right.
then the Panthers.
And they're at home. and then they get the Cowboys at home. Should have made them travel today.
Chicago has incentive to beat Carolina
Because
they've got Carolina's first-round draft pick.
oh,
And they also have their own. And you talk about some ammunition to get now. Now Justin Fields is highly questionable to play tonight. And they got DeVito playing.
They
have to figure out. They got
Danny
Bajent,
who?
a rookie, undrafted rookie.
How do you spell that?
Oh, he's been a little good for them.
He has.
He's been decent for them. I don't know how to spell it.
It's Bagent.
E-N-T.
Bajent.
Out of Shepherd University.
Shepherd.
What? Where is that?
It's got to be Division II.
Man, you know Grambling more than you know that school. That is bad. That is bad. Shepherd.
Yep.
Give me something.
All right. I'm giving you some more here.
Give me something, Shepherd. I mean, not just how to spell his name, but where the hell he went to school.
I don't know what he did, stat-wise for them in the last couple games, but from what I did watch, the broadcast was talking about how because Fields was out, they were like, this guy stepped up and he's actually like proven to be a pretty good leader for the most part. So
West Virginia. That's Shepherd.
Ooh.
As a matter of fact, when I Googled Shepherd, 5 things came up before the university, and one of them was pie.
I mean, I have never. Is it a D2?
Let's see.
D3?
While you look that up, and there's a reason that we're talking about Tyson Bagent here, and he has for Chicago, as Savannah alluded to, he has appeared in 4 games now, okay? And most recently at New Orleans, he was 18 out of 30 for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, but threw 3 picks.
Okay.
At the Chargers, in a loss, 25 out of 37, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Okay. Vegas and Minnesota he played. The Cowboys are about to face a quarterback here that nobody knows anything about in Tommy DeVito, right?
Yeah.
Undrafted. But he's got a better resume coming out of college than what Bagent has out of Shepherd University, because he led Tommy DeVito led Illinois to an 8-5 record last year.
That's right.
Okay. Illinois hasn't had a lot of success here recently.
I bet Bagent's Canadian.
And he was born in West Virginia. And went to high school in West Virginia. But Tommy DeVito, I was looking at him. We had some fun with Tommy DeVito yesterday, but I dove a little deeper into his background. And a Jersey guy, don't you know he's living a dream right now? Playing for his hometown, home state team, the New York Giants. He's been trained to be a quarterback since he was 6 years old, if you look at his story growing up. And he had success. We talked about he was at Don Bosco Prep, which has produced a number of NFL players, coached by former NFL. He got a cup of coffee in the NFL, a quarterback out of Rutgers, Mike Teal. Okay. Mike Teal says that Tommy DeVito has the best arm of any quarterback he has been around, and that includes NFL quarterbacks that he's been around.
Stop.
So I was right there in.
He's a talented thrower. Here's what Mike Teal said about Tommy DeVito. He's as talented a thrower as I've ever seen. He's up there with as good as the NFL guys I've seen. He was his high school coach.
So Division II.
Now, who are you talking about now? You're back on Shepherd University. Okay.
And that's where
get finished with Tyson Bagent and Shepherd. Go ahead.
Which one was Bagent? Shepherd?
Yes.
Oh, that
yes.
Yeah. But before that, they were NAIA.
Okay, we're not playing Chicago this week.
And
okay?
before that, Before that, they were in the Mason-Dixon Conference.
I want to hear this. Thank you. Yes, I'm with you. I want to hear this because I just want to know what they do. Give me something on them. Thank you, Spags.
With their conference is Mountain East Conference, the Mick. MEC.
The Mick. That's in the Mickaroos Conference.
No, that was before joining the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
I'm
How
sorry.
about
This
that?
is very interesting to me. Thank you, Spags.
All right.
Okay, so we're done with Tyson
Yeah,
Bagent. Okay, that gets you.
Hey, you
that
brought
gets
it
you
up.
ready for
You
tonight's
brought it up.
game. That
Back
gets
to
you ready
Tommy
for
DeVito.
tonight. The reason I brought up tonight's game is because the Cowboys' next opponent after New York
Is
Carolina, not Chicago.
Hey, you brought up the man's
way off
name,
track.
so- And Shepard.
Can I get
that's
back on
you.
Tommy DeVito?
Please do.
The task
Please
at
do.
hand here.
Please do.
And we don't want to hear anything about Four Seasons anymore.
No, we're not. I mean, I'm serious. I stayed up late last
Oh,
night
what a night.
researching late
Savannah
December
looked up
back in
Four
63.
Seasons.
You know what happened in 63,
Late December.
60 years ago tomorrow? In 63, it was relatively early November. Mike McCarthy was born. His 60th
wow.
birthday is tomorrow.
Oh, it is.
Did you not know
Oh.
that? Okay.
Cool.
All right, back on Tommy DeVito. He's as talented a thrower as I've ever seen, says Mike Teal, who was a star quarterback at Rutgers and was drafted actually by the Seattle Seahawks and was his high school coach at Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey. Okay. Tommy DeVito was an Under Armour All-American, led his high school to a state championship, and they had been down for several years before he got there. Trent Dilfer, who is he was invited to the Elite 11 camp, okay? Tommy DeVito was, and Trent Dilfer runs that. He says if DeVito had played 6A high school football in Texas, he would have been a 5-star recruit. He had that kind of talent. Okay. Instead, he was in New Jersey. Okay. He has been trained by a quarterback trainer since he was 6 years old, has a compact throwing style. He, at the Elite 11 camp, he roomed with Tua. And then he performed so well there, he got invited to the opening up in Portland, a Nike deal. And so he was highly touted coming out of high school and had several offers and wound up going to Syracuse and actually started in 2019 at Syracuse. And then he wound up transferring to Illinois and led them to an 8-5 record last year. He is 6'1", 210 pounds. And when you look at him, he could run around a little bit. And when you look at him, he reminds me a little bit of Brock Purdy. He's the same size as Brock Purdy, 6'1", 210.
Okay.
Now, the question will be, he doesn't have the team around him that Brock Purdy has around him. But the question will be also, can he process like Purdy has? But he's got a number of snaps in college underneath his belt, and so
Sounds like he's Tony Romo.
Well, and that's the other thing. You look at the guys in not only Cowboys history, but around the NFL who he's in. Tony, remember when Romo was in camp, who was ahead of him on the depth chart? In 2003, you had Quincy still here.
Oh, it was the baseball player.
Then you had Chad Hutchinson.
No, it was the next.
Drew Henson.
Henson. I believe it was Henson.
Okay, he was in that. He was behind him for a little bit, and then you brought Bledsoe in here. You had Vinny in here, and all along the best quarterback in camp was probably Romo.
Well,
during those 3 years until he finally got an opportunity his fourth year.
In 2004, if Quincy Carter doesn't get cut, Romo gets cut.
Right.
Because they brought in Testaverde to be the backup to Quincy, and then they had just made that trade to get Henson in here, and they paid him some money, so he was going to make it. And then Romo.
And Romo was a guy who had a lot of snaps in college.
Played 4 full seasons, Eastern
right.
Illinois. And was the Walter Payton Award winner.
Yep.
For the best Division I AA. It was
So
1 AA back then.
baby, yes.
So where the Giants are right now, with Daniel Jones going out for the year, Tyrod Taylor on injured reserve, now they get to take a look at Tommy DeVito, and they're hoping Tommy DeVito winds up being their Tony Romo or their Brock Purdy.
Well, Purdy, fewer mistakes by Purdy, even throughout his early career. He didn't have the propensity to throw a lot of interceptions
until Debo got hurt and he didn't have Trent Williams, and against Cincinnati
and then they
and then they had to play from behind.
I was gonna say,
and they had to play with lesser talented players, because that's what he's dealing with.
So you
wide receiver right now, lesser talented players.
All right. So a year ago at this time, what did we know about Brock Purdy? Outside, he had a nice career at Iowa State, and he was the last pick in the draft, and he hadn't got an opportunity yet in San Francisco, and then he gets put on a great team and doesn't make mistakes. But if you put Brock Purdy on this Giants team, he's not going to be Brock Purdy.
He's not.
No.
He's not. And that showed when we finally found his weakness as far as playing from behind. That's something that he seems to have a problem with. And, everyone's got their Achilles heel. That seems to be his. But I'm waiting to see what DeVito's.
Yeah. The point of all this is the Cowboys got to be ready to play, because Tommy DeVito could be their Brock Purdy.
If you cover those wide receivers, you can throw them. He can throw them to where he wants to throw them. If you're pasted to that wide receiver, then it's yours. So I'm never really worried necessarily about the quarterback himself. You have to worry about the wide receiver if you're a cornerback or a DB linebacker. Cover your man. Any quarterback right now can hit an open receiver. That's the way it is. You let Dobbs come in, you let him hit an open receiver, you're going to have problems. You don't stop the run so that Dobbs won't be under so much pressure, then you're going to lose. You're going to have those problems. So,
you don't think the Giants aren't looking at that Cardinals tape to see, okay, how did Dobbs have success against this team? And this guy can run some.
No one really, I wouldn't say really cared about Dobbs, but you weren't thinking of him as that person that we think of him now. The person that came into Minnesota and did a good job, the person that beat Dallas and running away. Now, all of a sudden, his reputation's up here. We don't want him to make a rep on us. We don't want DeVito making a rep on us.
So here's the Giants' problem. Evan Neal, Ben Bredesen, John Michael Schmitz, Justin Pugh, and Andrew Thomas. All that stuff we heard about the Giants before the season started, right? People were picking the Giants, by the way, to beat the Cowboys in that opener because they added, that defensive front with Dexter Lawrence and Ashawn Robinson, and now they picked up Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yep.
All this, they got this guy. They got drafted tight end Jalen Hyatt, and they forgot about improving their offensive line. And it's coming back to bite them in the butt because they've lost 2 quarterbacks to injuries.
Right.
Well, the issue that they've had on their offensive line is Andrew Thomas, who was playing at a Pro Bowl level last year, got hurt in that first game of the year against the Cowboys.
Right.
And so he's been out for 7 games, and he returned last week.
Well, he was the one that false started that got him in trouble on the 8-yard line.
There's a lot of people that false start when Micah lined
stands
up. The one that Evan Neal, the right tackle, is the one that it's not like they haven't invested in their offensive line.
He's injured, yeah.
Well, he's first-round pick, but he's been playing all year. In the last game, he got hurt, but he is not. He is underperformed at right tackle.
And once again, the reminder of the first game is first drive, they were driving on us. I mean, it was looking like.
Until a false start and a bad snap.
Right.
False start and then a loss of 14 yards on a bad snap and then a blocked field goal, and there goes the Giants' season.
3rd and 2
that
at
fast.
the 8. 3rd and 2 at the 8. Yeah, and then the next game they scored 31 points, and since they haven't scored more than 16 in any game.
But you mentioned their offensive line. In 2020, they spent the 4th pick in the draft on Andrew Thomas. And in 2022, the 7th pick in the draft on Evan Neal. So they've invested in their offensive line, but just because you spend picks there doesn't mean that they're the players that you thought they were. Although Andrew Thomas has been here after a shaky first year.
Was Justin Pugh a free agent pickup?
Yeah,
somehow his name rings some
Yes,
bells.
he was signed in early October. And he's a veteran guy who walked in the door and started games for him now, and he's actually shored things up a little bit.
And then the person that will replace Evan Neal will be Tyree Phillips out of Mississippi State. He's been in the league since 2020. He was with Baltimore.
Right, and he was a third-round draft pick in 2020.
So, and here.
We got a break. We got to go. We're
That's
going
all right.
way.
It's time for the
We're talking
over.
Giants, though. That's good stuff,
Time
man.
for the second break.
Yeah,
It is.
Nate and Frisco, we've been talking Giants.
There you go,
You're
Savannah.
welcome.
Yes,
All right.
I got one for you.
When we come back in a moment here on Mix Shots.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mix Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, the official roofer of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, we continue with our Giants talk.
Yes. And everybody's talking about, they just got to hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, and that'll solve all their problems. Don't let Tommy DeVito throw the ball too many times. Well, I looked up Barkley's stats, and we've been talking about the Giants' offensive line?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Barkley, right now, has rushed for 28 more yards than Tony Pollard. And both guys right now are averaging 4 yards per carry.
4.0.
4.0 yards per carry. And Tony Pollard has 2 touchdowns and Barkley has 1. So, when we talk about offensive lines and one of the problems the Cowboys have been having, well, even if you're Saquon Barkley behind a porous offensive line, you're not running very well either.
He had some injuries had some problems with injuries.
He has had, he has.
Yeah.
Now, watching him against Las Vegas, he looks like he's healthy. And he ran for 5.5 yards a carry against Las Vegas, 16 carries for 90 yards.
What was the long?
I'm not sure what the long was, but there were first series of the game, he was breaking off 8 and 9 yards a snap. Mm-hmm. And then the game before that against the Jets, he had 128 yards on 36 carries. So the last 2 games, he has accounted for 218 yards on 52 carries, which is 4.5 yards a carry. No, yeah, 4.5 yards a carry.
So he had a long of 26.
And see, that's the thing about this game. I don't feel like being surprised again. I don't want another Cardinals fiasco. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, we rarely do this at home. Usually when we,
11 straight wins.
Yeah. Usually when we do something like what we did in Arizona, it's on the road.
Here was old Tommy Boy's problem against the Raiders. He was sacked 6 times.
Oh, boy.
And Daniel Jones was sacked twice.
And
They had
Daniel
8
Jones,
total.
8 sacks.
But that goes to show their O-line is not holding. And when you
Maybe
look
they
at,
need to hold.
yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, maybe they do.
I don't know. When you're looking at our defense, who's been very consistent, and Micah Parsons especially, you should be a little scared if you're Tommy DeVito.
So in the last 2 games, their quarterbacks have been sacked 10 times.
10 times.
Yeah.
In the last 2 games?
Yeah, they got...
Well, they got 8 in one game, so they did well in the other game. Only got
No.
sacked twice.
No, 6, 8... Oh, no, 12.
Okay.
Because they each
All
got
right.
sacked. Jones and DeVito each got sacked twice.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously, if you're the Giants, we're going to run the ball.
And the week before that, Tyrod Taylor sacked 4 times. Now
They've
we're
been
up
sacked
to
as a team
16.
49 times this year.
That's unbelievable.
That's
I would
Washington.
imagine Tyrod probably
I think I
prevented
figured
a
it
few
out.
sacks.
They were on pace for like 96 sacks. That's unheard of.
Yeah. And that's why they're going to be running the ball against us.
Or they should be.
Or they
we
should
thought
be.
they would be against in the season opener,
Yeah.
and they ran the ball the first drive, and then after that, not so much.
Well, they thought Daniel Jones was somebody
Daniel,
else. Yeah.
Yeah, you run your quarterback
Right.
and then go see where he's at on the bench. They ran it
Or the infirmary.
Yeah, they ran it 20. They ran it 25 times.
In the tent.
25 times against the Raiders. They ran it.
And that was a game.
Wait. That can't be right.
What?
Rushing against the Jets. Says they ran the ball 52 times.
Yes. Barkley had 36 carries against the
Well,
Jets.
no wonder he had 128 yards.
It was like 3.5 yards a carry.
3.6.
Did they win
They
the
just
game?
kept
No,
running
it's
the ball.
13-10.
They just kept running
They
the
scored
ball.
10 points.
Well, even when we were knocking the heck out of Jones, they kept running him. You know, they kept calling plays.
Calling run plays, not
run
scrambles,
No,
right?
there were no scrambles. That was RPO, and he, for some reason, they kept doing it.
But this is the first time that Tommy DeVito has taken all the snaps in practice this week. Does that concern you, Mickey?
A little bit.
Okay.
Okay, against the Cowboys, they ran it 28 times. And Daniel Jones led the Army with 13 runs. The ground attack.
Yeah.
13. And they kept running them when the score was like 34-0.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Because they didn't want it to be 54-0.
Just get the clock going.
That's right. Barkley had 12 carries for 51 yards against the Cowboys in the opener.
I'm pretty sure that that's not going to be their game plan, is to put the quarterback in danger as they did Jones. I can't see them doing that.
No, because the backup just arrived, right? Didn't it? Barkley? Is that who they
Yes.
signed?
Yeah, another Barkley?
Their other backup, Matt Barkley
Yeah,
from USC.
He's got,
I've heard of him, of course.
got a few years
yeah, I've
under him.
And on defense, the guy that just jumps off the screen at you is number 97, Dexter Lawrence. 340 pounds, and he gets doubled or triple teamed about every play. And they traded away Leonard Williams.
I like Thibodeau.
Yeah, and Thibodeau had 3 sacks
Thibodeau.
against the
So
Jets.
which one do they put up against Steele?
Thibodeau.
Well,
Thibodeau's on
Lawrence
that?
is the inside guy.
Yeah, Lawrence is in.
Thibodeau's going to go up against him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if he's in. He can be out.
They can, but that's not what he does.
I know. They could play that wide 9 that gives the Cowboys
Although I wouldn't put
problems.
past Dexter Lawrence being able to get to the quarterback as a wide 9.
Which, by the way, I watched a couple plays that Steele struggled on. I think it was a sack each time. It was weird because I don't know if it was the same guy did it twice, but he let him get into him, right? The guy stunned him.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of went off.
Right.
You got to use your hands and get out, right? And he let the guy get into his body, and it stopped his momentum. and the guy just went right around him inside both times.
And that's all about footwork. You could see his footwork was bad.
It was none.
Yeah, so I think obviously that injury is really affecting his footwork. He's not moving well at all, and that's what we always admired about him, is a big man able to move as well as he was a year ago.
Now, he was better when he was healthy, run blocking, than he was in pass protection.
Right.
But not like that. So, yeah.
But have we seen any issues with him in the previous games outside of the Eagles? Like, is there any standout plays that you guys can remember where there was an issue? Because I think it was really just against the Eagles is where we started to notice a couple things.
Could have been just a matchup.
He's been a little consistent, I would say, in the other matchups.
Right.
Because there hasn't been anything noticeable
not like
outside of the Eagles.
Yeah,
so
not
has
like
he been
Eagles
playing and it was just the matchup, you know?
Maybe he was, because they were basically silent count the whole game, too, by the way. I don't know if that bothered him, but that's a good point. He's had some, I think, pass blocking problems, but not to that extent.
Right.
How did he play in losses, I think, is something that we should look at. Because, that's where we were having problems. We couldn't keep the quarterback safe.
Right.
But it wasn't as glaring as Savannah was saying as it was against the Eagles.
And then, what also happens is, obviously, none of the offensive linemen are perfect, but when I was going back and listening, it was like on TV they pointed out how poorly he was playing. So now everybody out there that's not at the game, they're hearing, "Oh, he played bad."
Yeah.
And then it just kind of
he did.
snowballs. But he did.
He did, yeah.
They weren't wrong.
Right.
But when it gets pointed out, now everybody's got the ammunition.
Now he's got a rep. Now he has a rep.
Coming off an ACL injury, I mean, it could be the cumulative effect of having now played 8 straight games on that. And,
right. And it wasn't just the ACL. He hit the Triple Crown. Got all 3 of them.
Well, I mean, we also had the bye. So it's not just 8 straight weeks. We had the bye.
So this is the second straight week after the bye.
Right.
So, and you got a bunch of games in a short amount of time coming up starting Sunday. 3 games in 12 days, 4 games in 19 days. And we continue with more Mick Shots in a moment.
Hey, you're taking a break.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Back to Mick Shots.
Sean Polite is your 2023 Cowboys Fan of the Year, and now he needs your help. Vote for Sean to be given the ultimate title of NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan, by casting your vote at NFL.com/Fan of the Year.
I got to say before we move on, you take all the drama out of this, the readings, which is a compliment to you. Spags has always made it so
just don't
exciting. Yours is. It's so,
It's perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
They don't have the nerve to criticize.
No. She hasn't given us anything to criticize. I'm waiting on something and she don't give us anything.
It was so much more enjoyable when we could
really
get on
pleasant
Mickey.
voice. Yeah, it's just so much more to it.
Can we just for old time? Can you hand that copy over to Mickey just for a second?
No. Put that down.
Just for old time's sake. Just so we can have someone.
I provide laughter.
He's going to have to do this tomorrow.
Oh, Lord.
I won't be here tomorrow.
Oh, no, I'm handing it off to Everson.
And a little bit next
I'll
week.
kill it.
So someone's going to have to pick up the pace next week.
So we've been talking about how the Giants need to run the ball, right? So I just happened to look and see, and the Cowboys have played 8 games, right?
Yep.
Only one team has averaged more than 4.1 yards a carry running the ball. You know who that was?
Who it was?
Arizona. They happened to average 7.4 yards a carry.
Still.
In that game.
Oh, in that game.
In that game. Okay, and the reason why they ended up with 30 carries for 222 yards, thanks to Joshua Dobbs on 6 carries going for 55, and Rondell Moore 3 carries for 54, including the 45-yard touchdown. So you said, by the way, Bill, that they need to pull up the tape of the Arizona game.
Anytime a quarterback is running that far,
right,
that's a secondary issue. Because there's no recognition by secondary at all. Your safeties, that's what your safeties are there for. There's no way that a quarterback should be behind the safety on a scramble.
So they had 5 carries. Joshua Dobbs had 5 carries for 11 yards and 1 carry for 44 yards. So they allowed big plays in that game. They had a 26-yard run, a 44-yard run, and a 45-yard run for a touchdown. That'll beat you every time.
That's safety. That's all secondary stuff right there.
Nick Harris has an interesting tweet that Mickey won't like.
Yes.
What is that?
The Dallas Cowboys have 12 players in the top 10 of Pro Football Focus graded position rankings through Week 9, the most of any team in the NFL.
Yeah, let's go to school on that.
I told you would like it.
Pro Football Focus. That's a pretty credible group.
Who are the
there.
players?
They're credible.
Would you
group.
like to know?
Yeah.
Spags, would you like to know?
I didn't. I was looking something up.
He's not paying attention. All right. Tyler Smith, 3rd of 80 offensive guards graded. He ranks number 3 in the league.
I think I heard that. Yeah.
How about that? Hunter Lipke, 3rd out of 10 fullbacks in the league. Only 10 fullbacks in the league.
Yeah.
He's 3rd. D-Law, 4th out of 107 edge rushers.
Well, you know what? They need to play him more snaps. He's been playing less than 50% of the snaps lately.
Has he talked about it?
No. But,
Well, maybe that's why he's playing so effectively.
well, maybe.
They got a rotation going there.
Because they used Armstrong quite a bit in the game on Sunday against the Eagles.
Yeah. Deron Bland, 5th out of 114 cornerbacks. What do you think of that, Mr.
That's
Cornerback?
Pretty good.
That's nice.
Well, we can see
He got
that.
3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
3 pick sixes.
Didn't need Pro Football
He should be higher
Focus to
than
tell
that,
us
actually.
that.
He's only given up 1 touchdown, right? The one to, was it Devontae Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
C.D. Lamb, 5th out of 118 wide receivers.
Not shocked there.
Okay. Osa Odigizua, 5th out of 126 defensive tackles. Micah Parsons, 6th out of 107 edge rushers. So DeMarcus Lawrence is 4th, and Micah Parsons 6th. This is Pro Football Focus graded position rankings. Jake Ferguson, 6th out of 68 tight ends. Tyron Smith, 8th out of 77 tackles.
That's surprising.
Dak Prescott, 9th out of 36 quarterbacks.
Well, he's ranked 7th right now in quarterback rating.
Zach Martin, 10th out of 80 offensive guards. And Marquise Bell, 10th out of 81 linebackers.
Marquise Bell.
There you go. So, Mickey, what do you think of Pro Football Focus now?
What do you think of Ticket Source? Some reason they found my email and sent me this. Ticket Source says they carried out a new study to reveal the most influential teams in the league. Mm-hmm. And the Dallas Cowboys rank number 1. And it looks like it's judged by Instagram, X, Facebook, Google searches, Wikipedia, and they come up with an influence score. The Cowboys were first, New England was second, Philadelphia was third, Pittsburgh was fourth, and Green Bay was fifth.
Ticket Source?
Ticket Source. I have no idea.
We didn't need. We could have figured that out on our own, right?
Most influential.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's,
Every time we
See,
play,
so they're still America's team.
No doubt. No, every time we play, we get the highest ratings. I mean, that still never changes.
Well, that was the game on Sunday, right? Did you get the rating?
I didn't see it.
I heard somebody mention that it was the most watched game on television so far, or watched show.
Well,
on
you go back in
this
September.
year.
Remember when Taylor Swift showed up at the Kansas City game? That was supposedly the most watched game ever. Well, Kansas City was up on Chicago that game like 35-0 at halftime, and they switched to the Cowboys-Cardinals game at halftime. And so the real reason wasn't Taylor Swift; it was because the Cowboys were on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I heard, and I believe it was the Chargers. It was either the Chargers. No, it was the Rams game. That the NFL made the station in Tyler air the Texans game instead of the Cowboys.
That's not cool.
And
Like they switched to it during the game, or they aired it?
It was scheduled to be, because they considered Tyler a in-between market, like they close to Houston, close to
No,
here.
it ain't.
Yeah, right.
It's 90 miles away from us.
The people were
Come on,
PO'd.
that is
why
not.
when you get people from New York making those decisions.
That's like saying that the Cowboys. Yeah, well, we're in Beaumont.
When somebody told me that, I said, did the NFL realize that back in the day when there were blackouts still in the 80s, when it wasn't a sellout, people used to drive to Tyler
just to watch
and get a hotel room so they could watch the game.
Forget that. We had a Cowboy antenna. My
And I
dad had an antenna on our house that
And
picked up the Tyler station.
And I pointed that out, too, by the way. and the NFL said, no, you're doing the Texans game. It didn't go over big.
Wow.
Well, it's the last time they make that decision.
That's right.
All right, we're out of time on this edition of Mick Shots. Some of us will be here for a fabulous football fight song Friday tomorrow
I'll
at
be
noon.
listening. I'll be listening. Don't you worry.
But I bet she gives us picks to click while somebody else on Friday didn't do that.
I didn't feel very confident with my pick last week. See you Friday.
But you had done it better. You had done the score. You were closest to the score. 37-7.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
See, you weren't here. You forgot about it.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow at noon.
Go Cowboys.
There you go.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!